Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day here in the Ozarks today, but starting I think tomorrow, we've got some rain moving in and looks like another cold front. I mean, it's been cool, not cold, but cool. But I think tomorrow we're supposed to start getting some rain, probably through the weekend. And then it's looking like next week we might even get our first real freeze for the overnight. So, I mean, I saw some daytime highs barely breaking 50. So maybe it's finally here. Who knows? All kinds of things going on in the world today, as you know. Seems like the most popular trending topic in the news is the expansion at the White House. As you know, President Trump has decided to build a gigantic ballroom next to the White House. This thing's going to be bigger than the White House, more square footage. And back in July, he had said that it was going to be built next to the East Wing and that the existing structure would not be touched. No problems, nothing was going to be damaged. It was just going to be built next to it. Well, now, over the last few days, there's been lots and lots of videos and pictures of them demolishing the East Wing. And so yesterday they came out and said, yes, in fact, plans have changed and they are demolishing the East Wing because it would just be easier and cheaper and all this kind of stuff. And also that the price is going to increase from about 200 million to 300 million, but the president's saying that it's still not going to come out of taxpayers' pockets, that this is all from donations from him and his friends. But I think we should have a little transparency because, are they donating to get favors? Who knows? I don't know, but it's going to be a very gold gilded, at least that's what the pictures show, big ballroom, reminiscent of, a lot of European, Russian, heads of states ballrooms and stuff that we've all, probably seen throughout, history and stuff. It's a lot of talk. I mean, there's concern of whether, he went through the right channels to do this, but I also kind of wonder, is this just another big distraction? I mean, yes, it's feeding, ego and everything, but is this just another distraction? Because a lot of people are talking about it. They're not talking about the fact that yesterday the president said that, yes, that he's authorized a ground attack on Venezuela, and that it would be possible that there could be boots on the ground at some point in the near future, and that this was imminent. We've notified our partners in South America, in that region, in the Caribbean, that the increase in attacks and all that kind of stuff is going to happen soon, that it's imminent. And then just an hour or so ago, it was reported that a B-1 bomber took off in Texas, flew to Florida, got refueled, and then apparently headed south. And of course, no transponder after that. So, is this something that's happening within hours? Because the stuff that's been told in the news and reported on makes it sound like that this is going to happen really soon. Not days and days away, but hours away. Venezuela's fired back and said that they have 5,000 Russian missiles ready to defend themselves. So we'll see what happens. I don't know. This is way more than just drugs, folks. If they wanted to stop drug boats, then, do it off of our own coast as they come closer. I mean, there's, and they've even admitted it. They've said that this is also to try to, depose the president there in Venezuela. They want to control and dominate that region because this goes back to the Monroe Doctrine of dominating our hemisphere. That China and Russia and stuff may be able to do what they want over there with their influence in, Asian countries and African countries, but this hemisphere is ours. And so Russia and China needs to stay out. But the problem is they've already got a pretty strong foothold down there in Venezuela and Colombia and Guyana and, places like that. So we'll see how this all happens and plays out. But, relationships, it seems like, between Trump and Putin just kind of fell through. Yesterday, President Trump stated that the phone conversations that he's had with Vladimir Putin have all gone really well, but then after the phone conversation, it just seems like things fall apart. And I think it's just what everyone's been saying, or a lot of people have been saying for a while, is that, the president's being played. And so Trump says that there's not going to be any meeting whatsoever with Putin. And who knows, we could see some serious escalations there. That we've already announced yesterday, and I think there's going to be some more announced, some pretty stiff sanctions on Russia. And Russia fired back yesterday saying that these sanctions are like another act of war against Russia. So there's that. The thing that I kind of noticed in the news that kind of caught my eye, that for me was the most worrisome, is a report on ICE. Yes, Immigration Customs Enforcement. The guys out there on the streets rounding up illegals. That their budget for purchasing arms, ammunition, weapons has increased by 700%. And so far this year that they have purchased about $71 million, almost $72 million in weapons. I felt the disturbing part of that report is that some of those weapons include chemical weapons, and I'm assuming probably, tear gas, mace, that kind of stuff, because that is classified as a chemical weapon, but also rockets, warheads, missiles, things like that. And there's some concern, and albeit it's mostly being spoken of on the left. So, maybe it's all fake. You can't trust them, but you can't trust the right either. So, I mean, it's all a bunch of den of liars as far as I'm concerned. But they're saying that they're really concerned that ICE is building up quite the arsenal of weapons, of not just small arms, rifles and pistols and ammunition and that kind of stuff, but military type arms, actual rockets, missiles, warheads, things like that. And the concern is that those could be used on American soil. I mean, where else would they be using them? We just had this memo to the Pentagon talking about or ordering the Pentagon to develop this National Guard response force because of potential civil unrest. We have a government shutdown that doesn't see any signs of opening up soon. People are losing EBT money, their food stamps, they're losing, all kinds of other government subsidies and programs. There's about 1 million or so government employees laid off. Probably a lot of them aren't coming back. And a lot of the government employees that are continually working aren't earning a paycheck, and they're told the only way that you can potentially get that money in the future is if you stay working without getting paid. And prices are skyrocketing. Oil's gone up 5% overnight. Gold is back going up again. Grocery prices are just in the nosebleed area. The president says that, that's all a farce, that grocery prices are down. You're just mistaken when you go buy 4 steaks at the grocery store and you pay $100 for 4 steaks. You're just, it's an imagination, right? But that we're going to start buying beef from Argentina, not American beef apparently, and that it's okay because it's actually helpful to farmers, and if they don't realize it, then they need to wake up and realize that that's a benefit for them. I don't know. I don't understand it either. But you've got all these disruptions going on. You've got already protests, violence, things going on. You've got National Guard deployed on the streets. And this talk of and threats of invoking the Insurrection Act. All this stuff happening, and then ICE is buying weapons of war, and are they just going to be using it to round up illegals, or is other things going to happen? Because it's starting to look more and more like it's not just about illegals. In fact, most of the videos that are out there floating around of ICE and federal agents out there, arresting people, a lot of them are not illegals. They're Americans. Some of them, it's just because they're involved in the arrest process. They're getting in the way. They're impeding the arrest process. But the fact is that there's a lot more people getting arrested that aren't illegals. It's happening. And some of them are getting detained thinking that they are illegals and finding out that they're Americans. We're watching civil unrest, civil stability in this country start to kind of break down pretty quick. And now finding out that they're stockpiling tens of millions of dollars in rockets and missiles and warheads and stuff. I don't know. I'm a little uneasy with that. And I'm telling you, you need to be getting ready. There's more and more talk of things like martial law, especially with the Insurrection Act. And we need to pay attention to this, get ourselves ready, really be prepping up, whether it's the government that we have to worry about or just mass violence, chaos, all of it. I don't think we're heading into a good place with all this. And I said this all along. As much as I want all of the illegals out of this country, I said that if we tried to do mass deportations, it was going to be absolute chaos. And it's starting to be. And the worry is this just kind of a cover to use this authority against, Americans that aren't towing the line? I don't know. I guess it's something we'll have to find out. But I strongly suggest you prepare yourselves in all ways possible, because this is starting to get very real. Folks, it's time to get your houses in order and to prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.